Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently actually ready to finish up the Voskhod, I keep saying that, the Voskhod series of flights here. There were only two. So we're going to be doing Voskhod 2 here, and I've already made a couple of alterations to this rocket. I've swapped out our previous, I believe it was a skipper, for a mainsail here, so that we're a lot more powerful in this stage. In order to compensate at the beginning, I've brought back all of these reliance to 35% thrust. So that'll do for now for our first stage here. I redid a little bit of things here staging-wise, and I also added in a heat shield and a decoupler here, and that's all we've done. But we actually need slightly more, because we need to ditch our P re-entry module here, and we need to be doing a pomegranate re-entry module. Where is that? There it is. Okay, so we're going to grab that, and we're going to attach this guy right on up here, and then we're going to grab our primary rocket, and we're going to, of course, attach that right there. Phenomenal. So that is our three-person vehicle there. No problem whatsoever. And I think we're ready to launch this thing. I don't think there's any actual issues with it. So let's save and head on out to the pad. So this is our first flight with 3 Kerbals, which is, of course, absolutely excellent. That allows us to bring along a pilot, it allows us to bring an engineer and a scientist. All of that is phenomenal for us. We're very happy about that. And of course, we're not going to really get all that much out of this other than the raw payment, but that's absolutely fine. So we're going to throttle up and SAS on here, just double checking our staging real fast here. Yeah, this should all be good. Okay, so off we go. It's going to be ever so slightly slower off of the pad, but that's absolutely fine. We're targeting like a 1.6 thrust to weight off of the pad, and this is like a 1.58 or something like that. It's definitely good enough. So that'll be fine, and we're just going to continue to lift here until we've burnt out these side tanks. Now, I do want to make our way over here a wee bit. We were drifting off the wrong direction slightly, which is, of course, not exactly what we want, but I do want to be getting almost entirely vertical speed at this point. So we know our apoapsis height is about 8 kilometers. And up we go. I'm just going to lock to prograde for right now. That'll be fine for the moment. Now this is oscillating between like 38 and 20 seconds. I suspect it's closer to the latter there. It's now at 15, 19. Yeah, these are going to run out of fuel soon enough. And when they do, we're going to ditch our side boosters, and we'll see what this thrust to weight looks like at that point. But we're out of fuel for our side boosters as of now. So off they go, and our thrust to weight is fine. 2.0. I like it. So at this point, I want to get purely horizontal speed. I'm not shocked if we pick up a bit of a bend in this rocket. But at this point, we're going for the horizontal. Cool. So we can see our surface velocity is starting to go back up, but what we're really interested in right now is our horizontal velocity. So as we can see, this is a much more powerful engine, and we are absolutely pushing through a lot faster. This is way better. So that's great. We're going to keep the fairing on for the moment. We will be ditching the fairing at about 50 kilometers or so in altitude. And I'm just slightly adjusting us here. It's a very long rocket, so we have a little bit of wiggling going on there. But we're going to be ditching the fairing right about now. Fantastic. So we're getting a good amount of speed here, but that is, of course, that stage burnt out. It doesn't, well, it does barely dip us up into space, I suppose. But we are going to need to utilize this for circularization, which is fully expected. We didn't add additional fuel onto that stage, right? We just had a more powerful engine. That's all we had. A lack of fuel in that stage is still a little bit of a problem, but for now it's completely fine. So we're going to burn here. I think we'll go up to about 100 kilometers, and technically we need to be doing the first spacewalk, which we've already done as part of the Gemini program. Like I said, these overlap. This takes place before those spacewalks. This was the first spacewalk on this flight. So that'll be absolutely fine. And we've got so much fuel in this. This can go quite a long ways, no doubt about that. So yeah, I think we're going to target about 100 kilometers here. Nothing too fancy on this one. That's for sure. The existence of this program was mostly just to, like, set first prestige flights. And they did with both flights. One flight was the very first on multi-man missions. And the second was the very first spacewalk. And then the leadership changed and they canceled it and replaced it with the Soyuz program, which is going to be a little bit awkward for us. I might delay the Soyuz program. The Soyuz program ended up going from early 1960s to present. So I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that one yet, although I'll have to decide by next episode. That's going to be very interesting indeed. We're going to need to warp on forward here. We're going to start our circularization burn here in about 3 minutes. 2 minutes. 1 minute. And let's just get into position here. We've drifted off of the node a little bit. There we go. 20 seconds. 10. And now. Phenomenal. So that'll do. This will get us nicely into orbit. About halfway there. 70 kilometers, 80, 90, and that'll do. So we're about a kilometer off on our periapsis. I guess we could push it up to be something like that. Just circularize it up ever so slightly. Yeah, that's pretty close. That'll do. What is our eccentricity there? That's pretty good. 0.0002. I like it. A little off on the inclination, but that's okay. So that's absolutely fine for the moment. And then, of course, we spacewalk at this point. So Jeb needs to EVA, and this was the very first spacewalk. Pretty sure this was still tethered at this point, but we are untethered because KSP doesn't really have a tethered spacewalk system. And off we go. Jeb is just gonna get some distance here. Cool. So that is all great, and Jeb is, of course, going to have to make his way on back eventually. So, head on back, Jeb. Here we go. Jeb is going to be drifting a bit here. No doubt about that. Okay, Jeb. Head on over. There we go. So we're going to bring this down to a halt, and we're going to bring Jeb right on back in. Phenomenal. Little too much vertical speed there, I think, but we'll just head on over and grab on, and we'll board. There we go. So there's our first spacewalk, and now we need to recover this vessel. So, I mean, this is nothing too fancy, right? Not at this point of KSP. So this is the final mission of Voskhod, the Voskhod program, if you can even call it a program when it only had 2 flights. But here we go. So after this, technically, it might be the Soyuz program that starts next. But actually, as far as I can tell, it appears to be unknown when the Soyuz program technically actually started. So it's a little unclear. We might delay the Soyuz program until after Apollo, so that we can A, get more science, and we can B, use it to help construct the space station Salyut 1 and eventually the ISS. So that's probably going to be the plan, I think, for Soyuz, is that we're going to do it after Apollo. It's kind of strange when it slots into the timeline, right? Because the Soyuz is still active today. Not in its original iteration, but still active today. So let's bring these guys on home. 70 kilometers, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, and almost 10 there. There we go, that'll do. And we don't need this fuel. And we don't need this fuel either. So let's head home. Magnificent. So, I mean, I should point out that this rocket didn't just fly 2 times. They flew it a bunch of times, like 80 some times. It was just mostly flown unmanned for satellite launches after this. It was human rated. but the program was canceled. So downward we go here, and the question is, what are we going to do to fill out the rest of the time of this episode, I wonder? I don't know. We can start working on some Apollo stuff, and by that I mean I think what we should do is we should at least get some research figured out on what we're going to need for Apollo, right? So, basic flight profile. We build a Saturn V, we take off in the Saturn V, right? So far, so good. Then we have our lunar lander module and our lunar orbital module. Those are going to be each their own spacecraft. They get separated. The lunar lander lands, and then it takes back off, although it leaves part of it behind. And at that point, they re-rendezvous, and then they leave behind the lunar lander with everything else, or with all of the Kerbals and everything being moved into the orbiter. And then the orbiter returns to Kerbal, is the flight profile. Which seems simple enough, to be honest, but we'll have to think about what we need technologically for that. What do we have, and what do we need? I think we have most of what we need for that, to be honest. Yeah, as I think about this, we're going to need a docking port. They're going to have to be pre-docked, probably strutted together to begin with. And then the struts should auto-brake when we undock, I think. That should be fine. The Saturn V itself is going to be a bit interesting to build. That'll probably be a next episode sort of thing, but we'll see. So, first off, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, right? We need to finish up the Voskhod program. And all we need for that is a splashdown, and we get our payments. So that's going to be $700,000 that we get for that in total. And then the question becomes, at that point, how are we doing technologically for an actual moon landing? Because that is kind of the next mission, although technically flybys are going to be the next mission. And then orbits, I believe. Indeed. Something along those lines. I haven't mapped out all of the missions yet. I'll get to that before next episode, for sure. So that'll be fine. But we're going to need to get paid here. So let's mark off Voskhod as done at this point. Phenomenal. And let's get loaded on in here. Anytime we can. Anytime now. There we go. Okay, so let's grab ourselves our payment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Phenomenal, because we finished up a full category and we had a successful flight. So 200,000 plus 500,000. Next, let's hop into the VAB, and I'm not going to make a finalized Saturn V here. That's going to be for next episode, but I'm going to make a, technology mock-up. So we're going to do a new craft here. We're going to have, let's see, a 2 crew capacity Mark II command pod, huh? And then a 1 crew capacity lander can. Interesting. So that's going to complicate matters slightly. So right off the bat, we found a small problem. We're going to need 3 crew capacity. Definitely. We definitely need 3 crew capacity. So we could have this be part of the orbiter module. We would have to take a look at what those look like. I don't have that all pulled up right now. We're just looking at tech right now. And then this would be part of the hypothetical lander, right? But that only brings 1. And the lander actually used 2 crew. We're not going to save this for now. So let's take a look at pods. We might require an additional pod, in which case we may want to go get new science. Which is doable. We can certainly go get additional science. So what do we need for an additional pod here? This would end up being not, I think, specialized control. Advanced landing would be very handy to have LT2 landing struts. That said, I don't believe it's strictly necessary. So, where would we be looking for additional pods? Space exploration here, probably. That would give us access to the Hitchhiker storage container. That would also give us access to the Probodobodyne experiment control station. These will likely be in future flights, Not like Apollo 11, right? But command modules, the Mark 1-3 command pod would be a great thing to have. The Mark II lander can would be pretty necessary as well. So we end up needing like 160 science. And that pretty much means that we know what we need to do here. We need to do a little bit of science farming. So we're going to put Bob in here. And we're going to launch, quote unquote, this vessel. We need to go grab ourselves 160 extra science. So that's certainly something that we can do. We know we got roughly that from like 3 locations. So we're going to have to grab a little bit of science here, for sure. So we know that we have extra science that we can grab here. I'm just double checking here. Yeah, I'm going to turn... Actually, do we need to turn this off? I'm not sure that we do. Yeah, I think our wheels are just good as they are. Okay, so we're going to head down over this way. We don't need to have our engine running for the moment. Ooh, okay, that was interesting. Cool. So we're heading over here. We know that we didn't have all of our resets previously because we didn't have Bob along. The brakes are still at high levels. We should definitely turn the brakes down. I forgot to do that in the VAB. Okay, so brakes get turned down. And apparently we could grab a surface sample here, which I'm going to do. We're going to grab a small amount of science from that, and we'll collect that data. Perfect. We can actually get a little bit more speed here. Ooh, okay, that actually has a fair amount of thrust. I'm surprised. 0.36 thrust to weight is more than sufficient to keep us moving here. So we're going to go over here and grab some repeat data, and then we're going to need to make our way over, like, to some of these buildings over here. That'll be absolutely fine. We should be able to easily get 160 science here. Okay, so it looks like the VAB has some some science that we can grab, not equipment. We can grab a surface sample here. I'm going to grab an EVA report, although I don't think it's strictly necessary. We're going to hop in, we're going to grab our mystery goo observation and our materials study. There we go, and we're going to collect all of our data in the experiment storage unit. Then we're going to EVA, and we're going to head on over. We're going to restore the Mystery Goo Containment Unit and the Science Junior. We're going to run these one more time. There we go. We'll collect that data and restore again. And collect the data and restore again. Perfect. So that data is now stored here. Can we grab another surface sample? Yes, we can. Beautiful. Okay, brakes off. And we are going to make our way on over to the tracking station. Ooh, this thing is moving a little faster than I wanted it to be. Let's turn our brakes on. So we're at the KSC now. That's the tracking station, though. Perfect. Wait, we were at the KSC before, and we didn't get anything from the tracking station. Good to know. So that's fine. We'll grab our crew report, temperature scan, atmospheric pressure scan, mystery goo observation, and material study. We'll get all of that data, and then Bob is going to EVA. We're going to grab a surface sample. We're going to grab an EVA report. And we're going to collect all that data. EVA again. Climb on down. Surface sample. We're going to restore the Mystery Goo Containment Unit and the Science Junior. Observe and conduct material study. There we go. Collect the data, restore. And collect the data and restore. And we'll hop in. So that's basically what we can get here. I don't want to store a third because we have other locations to grab data from. Brakes off, and let's get out of here. We're going to need to get turned around, of course. We have no reverse on this thing, obviously. But we're going to make our way on over here. Ooh, that was a little more sensitive than expected. Yeah, we definitely grabbed the KSC previously. So brakes on, we're going to grab our Mystery Goo observation and our material study here. And we're going to collect all of that data. We didn't get this one. There we go. We're going to EVA, climb on down. Restore, and restore. Observe. And let's grab this as soon as we can. Conduct that material study. Perfect. Collect the data and restore. And collect the data and restore. Okay. So that's enough from the KSC for now. Brakes off. And we're going to head up over this direction next. So this is, of course, going to be the R&D. We picked up a little bit more speed than I would have liked. These brakes really like to have us turn. Okay. I'm not sure if maybe one of these is at a slightly different level than the other. No? Okay. Maybe just differing levels of traction or something. Okay, so this is the R&D here. And we're going to grab our crew report. We're going to grab our surface sample. We're going to grab our EVA report. There we go. And we'll hop back in and we'll grab all of our additional data. Cool. There we go. And we're going to collect all of that, of course. EVA. And let's grab ourselves some additional data here. We'll take another surface sample. We will restore the Mystery Goo Containment Unit and restore the Science Junior. And observe and conduct material study. Perfect. Collect the data and restore, and collect the data and restore. And we'll hop on in. There we go. That's all the data we're going to take from here. So next up, we're going to go over to the administration building. Now, I believe we have not been to... We don't have much speed yet. Okay. I believe we've not been to the spaceplane hangar yet. But we definitely haven't been to administration. We were at mission control. But there's a flagpole over here as well. Ooh. We lifted off the ground a little bit on one side. Okay, here's the astronaut complex. Crew report, temperature scan, atmospheric pressure scan, mystery goo observation and material study. All good. There we go. Bob will EVA. We'll grab our surface sample. We'll grab the EVA report. And climb on down. Actually, we should hop in and collect, is what we should do right now. And then reset. So collect all. Hop in, grab another surface sample. Hop down, reset these. So restore the Mystery Goo Containment Unit and restore the Science Junior. Observe the Mystery Goo. And conduct the material study. We will collect this data and restore. And collect data and restore. Perfect. So now we should be able to get more from the flag. In theory. And also the administration. And then we'll just wheel around and head over to the VAB. A little faster than I was hoping to go here. Let's slow it on down. We don't actually get an additional biome from the flag. Okay, good to know. Good to know. But let's grab the administration building. Okay, brakes are on. That'll do. Crew report, temperature scan, atmospheric pressure scan, mystery goo observation, material study. Any moment now. There we go. And we'll collect all of that data. Bob will EVA on out, grab a surface sample, grab an EVA report, and we'll head down, restore this guy, restore this guy, observe, and conduct, collect, restore, and collect and restore. Perfect. So that's... Actually, we can grab a second surface sample here. We'll collect all that we can, EVA report, surface sample, and hop back in. Okay. Now we are, of course, ready to head over to the spaceplane hangar, and that should be the final little sub-biome here. I believe I've grabbed data from basically everywhere else. So let's head on over. Getting maybe a little bit too much speed here, so cutting the engine. And we're going to get ourselves our brakes on shortly. Okay, looks like we did get some from the spaceplane hangar, but definitely not all. So we'll grab the mystery goo observation and material study. There we go, we'll collect that data. And Bob will EVA. Grab the surface sample and climb on down. Restore and restore. Observe and conduct as soon as that pops up. There we go. Collect and restore. And collect and restore. Now, I believe I've gotten everything that we can from the mystery goo, so I'm going to redo these a third time, and that will just get stored where they're at. We have nowhere else to store that data, so we'll just, at this point, recover this vessel, and we'll see how much science we got out of that. Hopefully about 160. That would be the dream. We'll see what happens with this. How much science? Because we definitely need to get ourselves some additional pod types for Apollo. There's no doubt about that. And we'll start making the actual Apollo rocket in the next episode. 155.1, that's actually perfect. That got us 163.5. So we can grab ourselves command modules here. So we've got that Lunar Excursion module, which is, of course, I believe the one that is exactly designed for this sort of thing. Yeah, we can definitely grab that. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Perfect. And with that, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to prepare for the first Apollo mission, which didn't go well. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.